Okay, picture this. It's the end of the month. You just got paid. You look at your bank account, and somehow, despite working 40 hours a week, doing the overtime, skipping a vacation, you have less money than you did last month. And you're sitting there going, where did it go? You don't have a yacht. You don't have a second home. You're not blowing money on crazy stuff. It just vanished. And the worst part, you don't even feel like you lived that well. Sound familiar? Because if it does, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. You've just been playing by a completely different set of rules than the people quietly getting rich around you. Here's the thing. There is a set of money principles, ancient, battle-tested, culturally embedded, that a huge chunk of the world has been using for thousands of years to build wealth. Not get-rich-quick schemes, not some crypto play. Actual, generational, boring on-the-surface wealth. And almost nobody in the West is talking about it seriously. We're going to fix that today. My name is James, and I spend way too much time thinking about the mechanics of wealth psychology. If you're someone who makes decent money but still feels like you're just treading water every single month, make sure you hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. All right, let me hit you with a number that genuinely stopped me in my tracks the first time I saw it. China's gross national savings rate is around 45% of GDP. 45%. You know what it is in the United States? Around 3 to 5%. Let that land for a second. That's nearly a 10 to 1 difference. Same planet, same human psychology, wildly different results. So the obvious question is, what are they doing that we're not? And here's what most people don't realize. It has almost nothing to do with income level. Plenty of people in China living on modest wages save at rates that would embarrass high earners in the West. It's not about how much money is coming in. It's about the rules, the invisible framework they use to relate to money in the first place. So let's break these down. And I want you to listen to these not as foreign concepts, but as things you're going to recognize and go, oh, that actually makes complete sense. Rule number 1, the 9 and 1 principle. There's a Chinese saving philosophy that roughly translates to this. For every 10 units of money you earn, 9 belong to your future and 1 belongs to today. Now, I can already hear you going, James, that's insane. Save 90%? I have rent. And yeah, okay, that's an extreme version. But here's the point. The ratio is the lesson. Most people in the West operate on a mental model that's basically the opposite. Earn 10, spend 9, maybe save 1, if there's anything left. And the brutal truth is, for most people, there isn't anything left. The spending expands to fill whatever you earn. Every raise gets absorbed. Every bonus disappears. This is what economists call lifestyle inflation, and it is silently the number 1 wealth killer in middle-class America. The Chinese framework flips the script. You decide the savings rate first, and you live on the rest. Not the other way around. If you can't do 90%, do 50. Can't do 50, do 30. But the key, the non-negotiable, is that saving is the priority, not the afterthought. Think about it like this. You don't plant a tree and then water it if you feel like it. The watering is the whole point. Saving isn't what you do with what's left. It's the whole point. Rule number 2, frugality is not suffering, it's status. This one is a cultural shift that's genuinely hard to explain unless you've seen it. In many Western cultures, spending signals success. The nice car, the restaurant tabs, the wardrobe, these are the vocabulary of I've made it. Frugality, by contrast, reads as scarcity. It's almost embarrassing in Chinese culture, particularly in older generations. The script is completely flipped. Being frugal is respected. It signals discipline, wisdom, and strength of character. An old Chinese proverb says, even when dust piles up, it becomes a mountain. meaning even the smallest, most consistent savings will eventually become something massive. Frugality isn't a sign that you can't afford things. It's proof that you understand something most people don't. And look, this matters because behavior follows belief. If you believe that restraint is a form of weakness, you'll never practice it consistently. But if you shift your mental frame, if frugality starts to feel like a power move rather than a sacrifice, suddenly it gets way easier to do. Rule number 3. Guanxi, your network is your net worth. Literally. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. There's a concept in Chinese culture called Guanxi, pronounced Guanxi, and it roughly translates to relationships or connections. But it's way deeper than just networking. It's a whole philosophy around reciprocal relationships, mutual obligation, and the idea that your social capital is a genuine form of wealth. In practice, this shows up in things like cost sharing. Chinese families and communities will pool resources, shared housing, shared meals, shared childcare, in ways that would seem unusual in individualistic Western culture. And the financial effect of this is enormous. When you share costs intelligently, you can cut your effective living expenses significantly while building deeper social bonds at the same time. Here's what most people don't realize. The wealthiest people in the world, almost universally, got there not just by being smart with money, but by leveraging relationships, deals, introductions, partnerships, mentorships. These are worth more than almost any investment account. Guanxi isn't just a soft skill. It's a hard financial strategy. Ask yourself, when was the last time you deliberately invested in a relationship with zero expectation of immediate return? Because that's exactly what the long game looks like. Rule number 4, love the land. Think in assets, not things. There's another Chinese philosophy that comes up over and over. A deep preference for investing in tangible, real assets. Real estate especially. Property in Chinese culture isn't just a place to live. It's a store of value, a legacy, something you build and pass down. The philosophy of loving the land is about understanding the difference between things that consume your wealth and things that generate it. Now, I'm not here to tell you to go buy a property right now. That's a whole different video. But the mindset is transferable to every financial decision you make. Every dollar you spend is either going towards something that builds value over time or something that disappears the moment you use it. The question you should be asking before every major purchase is this an asset or an expense? Not in a miserly way, in a strategic way. Rule number 5, defer gratification, but make it a system, not willpower. Here's the honest truth about delayed gratification. Willpower is a terrible strategy. Research consistently shows that willpower depletes. You can't out-discipline a bad system. The Chinese cultural approach to deferred gratification isn't about white-knuckling your way through a budget. It's about building systems and norms that make spending less automatic and saving more automatic. This is where modern personal finance actually catches up with ancient wisdom. Automate your savings before you see your paycheck. Set up separate accounts for different goals. Remove the friction from saving and add friction to spending when saving is the default behavior, not the exception. You stop fighting yourself. There's a reason kids in Chinese families receive red envelopes of lucky money during Lunar New Year and are taught not to spend it immediately. From childhood, patience with money is normalized. That's not discipline. That's conditioning. And you can build that conditioning at any age. Rule number 6, play defense first. One of the most underrated principles in building real wealth is this idea of playing financial defense before you think about offense. Most financial content is about growth, returns, side hustles, investments, and all of that matters. But none of it matters if you don't have a defense. Defense means an emergency fund. Genuinely, 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting somewhere boring and accessible. Defense means insurance. Defense means not carrying high-interest debt. Defense means never putting yourself in a position where one bad month destroys years of progress. Here's the thing. Wealthy people obsess over defense. The reason most lottery winners go broke within a few years isn't that they didn't have money. It's that they had zero financial defense. They had no system to protect what they had. Money without a moat is temporary. Rule number 7, so early, so often. This is the one that actually physically hurts to think about. The later you start. The Chinese philosophy of so early, so often is just compound interest dressed in ancient wisdom. And yes, you've heard about compound interest before. But I want to say something slightly different here. Compound interest isn't just a math concept. It's a psychological contract with your future self. Every dollar you invest in your 20s is worth dramatically more than every dollar you invest in your 40s. Not because of magic, but because of time. And the cruel joke the financial system plays on most people is that we're at our lowest income and highest temptation, exactly when time is most valuable to us. An 18-year-old investing $200 a month into a broad index fund at an average 8% annual return could have over $1 million by retirement. Not because of genius, because of time. Meanwhile, someone who starts at 40 would need to invest nearly $1,800 a month to hit the same number. Same destination. Drastically different cost. Start before you're ready. Start before it feels significant. The amount matters less than the habit. Look, I know this feels like a lot, but here's the honest takeaway. None of these rules are complicated. They're not flashy. There's no algorithm, no secret investment, no loophole. It's frugality as discipline, networks as capital, assets over things, defense before offense, and time as the most valuable resource you have. The reason most people don't follow them isn't that they don't make sense. It's that they run against the current of everything our culture tells us about money. We are sold the idea that spending is freedom, that lifestyle is identity, that getting rich is about finding the right opportunity rather than building the right habits. And that gap between what we're sold and what actually works is exactly where most people's wealth disappears. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with. Pick just one of these rules, not all 7. 1. Whether that's flipping your savings rate, starting an emergency fund, making one investment this month, or simply asking yourself before your next big purchase, is this an asset or an expense? Just pick one and actually do it. Wealth isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in 1,000 small, boring, consistent decisions that nobody else sees. The Chinese didn't build one of the highest savings rates on the planet overnight. They built it through culture, through mindset, through generation after generation, choosing the future over the moment. You can start doing the same thing today. If this video helped you or shifted your outlook on how you think about building wealth, do me a favor. Share it with someone who's always saying, I don't know where my money goes, because this might be exactly what changes that conversation for them. I'll see you on the next one.